All right, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at another common opponent fight film breakdown, okay? Once the announcement was made that Dustin Poirier vs. Justin Gaethje 2 was going to take place in the main event of UFC 291 for the BMF belt, I went back and I started watching some of their old fights. Initially, I was going to do a breakdown of their fight together. However, I don't know how relevant that fight will be. Obviously, there will still be some relevance to it, but it was about half a decade ago, and I think it is my opinion that both men have improved quite a lot since that date. They do things slightly differently, maybe even in the case of Justin Gaethje, a lot differently than they used to. So I didn't think it was the best way to gauge how they might perform in their fight with one another coming up. So before somebody tells me, yeah, they got a lot of common opponents, I'm aware of that, right? They both fought Michael Johnson, they both fought Eddie Alvarez, they both fought Charles Oliveira, and they both fought Michael Chandler. I wanted to do their most recent common opponent, though, which is Michael Chandler. And I want to take a look at first Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler because that one happened first, and then we will take a look at Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. And then at the end, if I haven't taken an hour, we will look at the final round of their fight together. Okay, so before we get into it, please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll thank you in advance because I'm Canadian, eh? So let's just get right into it. I almost said the whole shit again, dude, because my brain ain't working today, but either way. I'm going to look at rounds 1 and rounds 3 of each of their fights because I don't want to take up too much time, obviously, but I think round 1 of both of their fights with Michael Chandler is a good indicator to show some of the things that they struggle with. It is my belief that both of these gentlemen actually struggle with more linear attacks, meaning straight punches, right? One jabs, straight right hand, straight left hands, and they also both seem to have openings for uppercuts. We've seen Justin Gaethje get tagged with a massive uppercut from Tony Ferguson. I've seen multiple times where I was screaming at my TV, not because I wanted Dustin Poirier to get knocked out, but because his opponent, Michael Chandler, was just ignoring a glaring hole in his defense, okay? And I also think that both of them are susceptible to body shots. Dustin Poirier seems to be a little more susceptible to front kicks and teep kicks, which we see Justin Gaethje utilize a couple times in his fight versus Michael Chandler. And Justin Gaethje is open to body punches almost all the time, whether it be at range or in the clinch. So anyways, we're going to start at 4 minutes and 53 seconds of round number 1 of Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. And again, as I said, this first round is going to be showing mostly things that they struggle or areas that they struggle in. Okay, so right off the bat, we see Chandler stick Gaethje with a stiff jab, very stiff jab, and it actually sends Gaethje quite a bit off balance. And you saw him try to land a right hook counter, which is something that he utilizes a lot better than he used to, especially since 2018 when him and Dustin Poirier first fought. Okay, so once again, stiff jab, but because of the amount that it made him off balance, that right hook whiffs. Chandler just gets out of the way of that right hook. Okay, now we're going to skip ahead to 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Big right hand by Chandler with all the tell in the world, and his straight right hands are about as straight as Jeff Molina, so Gaethje slips out of the way of that one beautifully and comes back with that right counter that he was trying to get on that first jab that we saw Michael Chandler land. That's something that he utilizes a lot, and he has gotten very, very good at it. There's a lot of people that think that Justin Gaethje has improved almost all aspects of his game. I think that the main aspect he's improved that has allowed him to make improvements in his offense is his defense. The way that he rolls with punches, the way that he slips, it allows him to set up counters, which we didn't typically see him landing before. Okay, like he used to just be balls to the wall, hit to get hit, and getting hit to give hits. And now he's a lot more intelligent with his defense. And he's also something else that I forgot to mention. One thing that I don't think is going to be as relevant as in their first fight with one another, is the leg kicks of Justin Gaethje. Because, first of all, Dustin Poirier has done a ton of training in regard to leg kicks, like getting ready for his 2 Conor McGregor fights. And then we saw, even in the Michael Chandler fight, when he tries to switch to a southpaw stance, Dustin Poirier chewing the leg up immediately. And he's very good at checking kicks now. Also, though, Justin Gaethje throws his leg kicks a lot less. He used to just throw himself into the fire, throwing these leg kicks, and oftentimes he would get countered off of his leg kicks. Now he uses his leg kicks as a counter, and I'll show that in round number 3. But we're going to skip ahead now to 14 will work, okay? Gaethje just slips out of the way of that jab, and they both miss their shots. But what I'm looking for is what comes up next. He sticks him with a good stiff jab. Dustin Poirier is susceptible to jabs, and I will prove you this later on in the video. But this is just something that I wanted to note. It's nothing much more happens after that. I just wanted to show you guys because Justin Gaethje definitely fights behind a jab a lot better than he once did, and Dustin Poirier is still slightly susceptible to jabs. Now, to be fair, Michael Chandler is more explosive than both of these guys, right? But I would argue that Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier are a lot better at hiding their shots, and they are much more accurate with their shots, whereas Michael Chandler is banking on his power and explosivity to just hopefully land, but when he does, cause a ton of damage. We're going to skip ahead just 5 seconds here. Slips a big left hook from Michael Chandler. Now, this is something to note. Justin Gaethje does this a lot. This is how he slips punches most of the time, is he's ducking. He's not really slipping off to one side or the other. He is ducking underneath it. This could potentially cause problems against Dustin Poirier, as Dustin Poirier is very good at throwing in combination, and we've also seen it cause problems for him not only against Michael Chandler, but as I said, against Tony Ferguson and against other guys like this. It's a big action to get out of the way of a shot, right? Whereas some guys might just move back out of the way just enough. He rolls completely under stuff, but with the leg kick, as Chandler had all his weight planted, right? Like, he just threw a ton into that left hook, as he does almost every single strike that he throws. But this is what I'm saying. Justin Gaethje doesn't just throw leg kicks for the sake of throwing leg kicks. He is not he's waiting for the most opportune moment when his opponent is the most vulnerable. And not just that, he waits for a moment when he doesn't think he can get countered back. And it's a big change from the way that, pardon me, he used to. Now we're just going to let it roll for a couple seconds here, because immediately after, we see something else. Gaethje checking kicks, man, with the Jan Blachowicz dropping a level. Chandler kicked knee there, and I don't think he liked that too much, and Gaethje actually counters him with a left hook, pardon me. Chandler, another huge, as straight as Jeff Molina, massive telling right hand, partially lands over the shoulder, but Justin Gaethje back with a counter of his own that goes right across seemingly the nose of Michael Chandler. Okay, good stuff from Justin Gaethje. We're going to skip ahead to 3:44 on the clock. Now, Chandler makes a read here, which is something that... So I read a stat pretty recently that says, and I'm not trying to offend anybody in my audience if you're watching, but I read a stat that says 50% of the population has no internal dialogue going on in their head whatsoever. And my thought was like, well, then what the fuck is going on in their brain, right? I thought that that's what Michael Chandler was like. I thought Michael Chandler was one of those... Once I read that stat, I went, oh, that's Michael Chandler. He's got no internal dialogue. This is why we see him spamming massive hooks after he's hurt a guy with a fucking straight punch. Or why we don't see him shooting takedowns against guys that are fucking way better on the feet than him. This is what I thought. But then once I saw this, I realized, oh, okay, he actually does make reads. Like, Gaethje drops his level a bit to slip stuff, right? Like, we went over that. He completely rolled under that hook as opposed to slipping back out of the way of it. He just dropped his level quite a bit with to get away from that jab of Chandler. Chandler's pumping out his left hand constantly here now. Does it again. Okay, so then he follows up with a massive uppercut instead of a straight punch again, which an uppercut is a more linear attack than like a hook or something, right? It's just coming up the middle as opposed to straight down the pipe. But that was a good read from Chandler, right? Which surprised me. Okay, but also, this is something that, again, I think he could potentially have issues with against a guy like Dustin Poirier, who's throwing in combination. He's going to be sticking out that jab from the right side, and his rear uppercut will actually have a better angle, in my opinion, to land on the chin of Justin Gaethje than Michael Chandler's just did. But good stuff from Chandler. Not something that I expected to see from him, with all due respect. So it was Good stuff. And that hurt Gaethje quite a bit. And then Chandler even lands a good leg kick of his own. So good on him for mixing it up a bit. And then he tries to stick him again with the jab. Gaethje counters over the top and just misses. We're going to skip ahead now to 3:14 on the clock. See, that had a ton of tell on it, eh? Like, Chandler doesn't throw sneaky, right? And he's not even really setting everything up. Like, he just set up that uppercut that we saw him land. That didn't have much of a setup. He put everything he had into that. And you could see it coming, you know, from a mile away. Obviously, it'd be a bit harder to see it at full speed considering he is so explosive. But again, I said at the top, both these men are susceptible to straight shots, in my opinion, and I think that we've seen that because I would argue Justin Gaethje is a way better boxer than Michael Chandler, and there are still shots that Chandler throws that he was unable to get out of the way, I guess, but Gaethje with a good counter of his own kind of stuns Chandler for a second there, it looked like. But again, I think we might see Chandler land something else here, which is why I am keeping it going. I'm pausing a lot more this time because I do not want to get copyright after 7 hours of, you know, filming, editing, and all that stuff. Yep, jab. See, jab. Sticks him again twice in a row, right? And then whiffs on that big right hand. So he's susceptible to this stuff, man. So it's 2:20 on the clock. Okay, just a horrible attempt at a flying knee, in my opinion, but no, all good, dude. But look at this. You can see him winding up, and Gaethje still can't get out of the way of that because he's used to being able to duck and roll. And to be on the back foot, it makes it a lot harder for him to do. It's just crazy that at this point, we're about 3 minutes into the fight, he's been tagged with a bunch of straight shots, whether it be jabs, right hands, or even the uppercut that we saw Chandler land. And he hasn't figured it out yet. Now, he does eventually. Like, he gets his timing down, he gets the range down, and he starts landing with his counters a lot more frequently. But it took him a while, man. And Poirier is a very, in my opinion, an experienced finisher. Like, if he gets you hurt, he's not letting you off the hook. Whereas Chandler, he's not the most accurate, and he'll just spam hooks, even though that wasn't what landed in the first place. And, you know, to me, Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson are not good representations of how he would do trying to finish a guy like a Justin Gaethje or a Dustin Poirier or somebody like this. So I know he's got finishes in the UFC, but I don't consider him a prolific finisher, okay? Look at this big looping shot too over the shoulder, but Chandler lands a left hook. Gaethje whiffs on that right hand. And then we see Chandler get countered with a left hook and start screwing up. See? Again, he had him hurt, right? He's just not a good finisher. Gaethje's swinging shots, and that did hurt Gaethje. It's not like Gaethje's playing possum. But then he lands it again, dude. Again. Big straight right hand with a ton of tell on it. Gaethje cannot get out of the way to save his life, but then he lands a good uppercut of his own, and Chandler is forced to clinch because that seemed to have stunned him a little bit. But this is also something else. Gaethje is slightly susceptible to the body. He is not even, like, he's wide open to the body. And we see it here, big knee at the clinch. And I mean, Alvarez had a lot of success kneeing him to the body. So Dustin Poirier, who's a good boxer that throws in combination, while he is a bit of a headhunter, especially once he's gotten you hurt, I would imagine he's seen that Justin Gaethje can be hit to the body and doesn't really have any defense for it. Like, we don't see him block into the body a whole lot. It's just not something that we typically see. I'm going to skip ahead to 1:30 on the clock. 1:32 works. They disengage from the clinch. Gaethje already looks tired. He just took a deep breath. He winds up on an uppercut and cracks Michael Chandler. That was a beautiful shot. And follows up with the left hook that just missed also. So Justin Gaethje has something else too. He's now throwing in combination. a lot more frequently. But look at this. Sticks him with the jab. And Chandler doesn't have like the most educated jab. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Michael Chandler. I just don't view him as a top level striker. He's just kind of pumping it out there. And because Gaethje can't get out of the way of it, it just works for him. Like, look at this, man. He got hit with it like 3 or 4 times. Now, to be fair, he countered with a big left hook of his own, and that was good stuff. But I feel like you gotta get out of the way of this shit. And Dustin Poirier has a very nice jab, and then we see him throw an uppercut because of the way Gaethje dips down to get out of the way of these shots, man. So again, Chandler's making reads, not something that I would have expected from him, but either way, we're going to start at 48 seconds. Body shots in the clinch. Look at that, digging him. And Gaethje's not even trying to throw any of his own either. He's just hanging on Chandler, kind of lazily, almost making himself a dead weight, which, I mean, forces Chandler to carry his weight, but it is certainly not good for the left side of his body right here. But then he pops him with a little uppercut inside, and then they disengage. Now I'm going to skip ahead. There's one moment in round 2 I want to show you. Now, Justin Gaethje, I'm not going to show the drop because I don't want to get caught up in all that shit. But I think the reason Justin Gaethje made a read there. Also, Michael Chandler constantly, every single time, he throws a stiff jab, not just when he's sticking it out there trying to pop Gaethje in the nose, but when he's at range and he throws a stiff jab, he drops his level before he does, and then he comes up to throw the jab because he's using his legs. That's where all his power comes from, and his ass. So that was a good read by Justin Gaethje to then throw the uppercut, because every time Chandler was throwing that jab, he kept ducking, and Gaethje timed it off of a jab. But I know a lot of people like to call Dustin Poirier a sore winner even, or a sore loser, right? Like, he always seems to have an issue with the guy at the end of the fight, even though he's just won, okay? I just want to show you guys, I do think that he was onto something when it comes to Michael Chandler being a dirty fighter. Alright, so I think that this eye poke that happened, for those of you who don't remember, at the end of round number 2, Justin Gaethje got eye poked by Michael Chandler. It was more of a swipe or a scratch, okay? And also, for those of you that don't remember, Dustin Poirier seemed to be pretty fucking angry with Michael Chandler at the end of their fight because of a fish hook, because of the nose blowing and things like that. And actually, there is a moment in the Dustin Poirier fight where this almost exact thing takes place that I'm about to show you. So we are at 15 seconds of round number 2, right? The very end of the round. Watch this shit, dude. When you watch it in slow motion, it's kind of hard to argue that he didn't do this on purpose. So he's pawing with that left hand immediately, and his fingers are extended completely forward, which is going to force anybody to back off because nobody wants to get poked in the eye, especially with your own momentum. Pause with that left hook. Big right hand. So good shit, right? Like, he pawed with the left hand, followed up with a big right, and landed. And it was a beautiful shot, and it fucking stung Gaethje a little bit. Like, it flung his head back. But then look at this. He just straight up scratched him. He swiped at him like a fucking cat. I want to show you that one more time before we show you what he does after, which also irritated me because I feel like there's no way he didn't know that he did that, okay? I feel like there's no way. I don't care how much adrenaline is coursing through your veins. I feel like there's no way he didn't know that he had just done that. Big right hand. Beautiful shit. Look at that. Straight up fucking fury swipes like rat-a-tat, dude. Dirty rat, Michael Chandler, okay? Don't appreciate it, not one bit. And then Justin Gaethje immediately has a reaction. And Justin Gaethje is one of the toughest motherfuckers of all time. This guy is not a cowering to a punch like this. You know what I mean? Like, and then Mike Beltran with his soft ass. I know he's got a beautiful mustache, but just doing this, like, bro, get in between them because he straight up allowed that, and that was a massive shot. And if it was anybody that wasn't Justin Gaethje, this could have potentially been the end of the fight, right? I mean, and then Mike Beltran gets all, like, upset after the fact. And Justin Gaethje has every fucking right to be irritated with Mike Beltran here, in my opinion. Watching this back, this bugged me, okay? But anyways, we're going to skip ahead now to 4:37 of round number 3. All right, 4:38 works. Now I'm going to show you the way Justin Gaethje utilizes leg kicks differently. Jab from Chandler, big jab, and you notice he dropped his level there, but what does Justin Gaethje do? all of Chandler's weight on his lead leg, and he just kicks it out from underneath him. He throws it once the attack has been made. You know what I mean? Because then that way he knows he's safe. Because he doesn't even really cover up a whole lot when he's throwing kicks. But that's good stuff. So I'm going to skip ahead 5 seconds. Nope, that was 10. Shit. I'm going to skip ahead 5 seconds. Okay. Chandler immediately switches to southpaw, and watch what Gaethje does. Instantly. Almost instantly. Pause with the left. Sticks him with the right. So Gaethje, educated shit, man, right? The angle becomes better for your rear hand when you're facing an opposite stance opponent. And Michael Chandler, as I was saying earlier, I don't view as a very top tier level striker. So when coaches usually will try to get you to refrain from switching stances, unless you've been there for a while, because they know, and I mean everybody should know this, if you are like right-handed, you are going to be much quicker with your reaction time and all that shit. Maybe not offensively, but defensively from an orthodox position. It takes a lot of training to train your body to be defensively responsible in your opposite stance. I just hit my mic. Fantastic. Michael Chandler is not that, I would imagine. Fantastic athlete. Okay, all that shit. He is not a high enough level striker that if I was a coach, I would be comfortable with him switching stances, because you can just tell, dude, you can tell. Guys get more awkward defensively. Like, they don't know what hand. They'll go to parry with their lead hand instead of their rear hand. They'll go to move one way instead of the other, because when they're in their natural stance, everything is flipped. But it was a nice attack from Justin Gaethje, and considering Dustin Poirier is a southpaw, I think that it will potentially be relevant against Dustin Poirier, that he is able to make the switch and the adjustment on the fly as soon as his opponent switches to southpaw, because we saw him earlier leading with the jab when Chandler was unorthodox, to switch that up, paw with the left, and then lead with the rear. And it is good shit from Justin Gaethje. And that one seemed to have stung Chandler a bit, and he's gone into full mongoloid mode, this is the Michael Chandler that when I read that statistic about the zero internal dialogue for 50% of the population, this was the Michael Chandler that I had in mind. Okay, we're going to skip ahead to 4:05 on the clock. 4:06 works. Justin Gaethje probably just landed a counter, right? So I don't know why I have it starting at 4:05, but we're going to see, okay? Oh, again, big right hand, man. But look at this. This is phenomenal, dude. Look how fucking close they are, right? They are so close. Now, Michael Chandler looks to be harnessing a big rear uppercut that's coming Justin Gaethje's way, but they're so close together. I would imagine Gaethje's leg kick will land first. Gaethje inspired me to do a drill on the heavy bag that I was never ever told to do by any coach before ever. I will literally put my forehead up against the heavy bag, and I will hold my hands up as if I am doing like a Muay Thai clinch position. And from there, from touching the bag, I will throw leg kicks off my rear leg for a minute straight, and then take a breath and then do it again, because it is something that requires practice to do. And at first it feels awkward, but you can get your hips this flexible. It is possible. Justin Gaethje is very good at it, and not a lot of guys do it. Nobody's expecting that from fucking clinch range, my guy. Like Chandler's, you can tell, or at least I think I can, that his rear leg is, the ball of his foot is touching, but the rear might not be. He has all of his weight on that lead leg, man, and you can see his leg fucking buckle there. Nobody is expecting you to chop a leg kick in clinch, or in like clinch range. That's just not something that you would typically see. That is good shit from Justin Gaethje, man. I like it a lot. We're going to skip ahead to 3:32. Okay, Chandler digging body shots here, which, I mean, keep in mind, round 3, Chandler is beaten and battered at this point, and we still see him able to realize that Justin Gaethje is open to the body and spam hooks to the body of Justin Gaethje. And then at 3:27, Gaethje with what I was talking about earlier, off of Poirier or Chandler's jab, he still gets hit with it, but he comes over the top. Big right hand. Okay, he is very good with that counter right hand. Very, very, very good. And then we actually see Chandler stick him with a jab again. And more body shots. Dug 2 big body shots there. And again, and again. All right, there's a good read from Chandler. He's noticing it, okay? And then we're going to keep it rolling for a few seconds. Beautiful counter left hook from Justin Gaethje, pardon me. Chandler acknowledges that one. Again, with the leg kick, dude. Beautiful stuff from Justin Gaethje. Boom. See? Chandler drops his level every time he throws a jab. Watch this. Big leg kick. Sticks out the jab. Eats one for it. Beautiful shot from Justin Gaethje. And then we get another exchange here at 310, so I'm just going to keep going. Boom. Big counter right hook over the top after eating a few jabs. Look at the timing on this, man. Chandler's jab just touches his body when he eats that kick. Now, it looked like it might have landed a little funnily. Looked like he might have not necessarily checked it, but landed where he didn't want to. Okay, but still, amazing timing from Justin Gaethje. Nice jab from Gaethje. Something that we haven't seen a whole lot of. But Chandler still ripping to the body of Gaethje, who, again, Chandler's beaten and battered at this point. Gaethje has pulled away with this fight since round 2, and Chandler still has the wherewithal to throw body shots, but eats another one for his efforts over the top. Justin Gaethje's counter right was on point after round number 2. We're going to skip ahead to 153. The way he rolls with shots, man, they help him defensively in certain areas, but they make him susceptible to other shit. But then he eats one for his efforts and gets wobbled there, dude. That was a beautiful counter shot from Justin Gaethje. Okay, now we're going to skip ahead to 119. 120. Chandler switches to southpaw here, and watch immediately what Justin Gaethje does, okay? Big leg kick from Gaethje. Nice shit. This is probably what's forcing Chandler to switch to southpaw because he's eaten a ton of leg kicks at this point. Sticks him with the straight right. He immediately switches up. As soon as Chandler switches stances, he goes from leading with the jab to leading with the rear hand. And Chandler, not being defensively sound in his opposite stance, can't see it coming. We're going to skip ahead 5 seconds. Then we see Chandler do the same to him, though. Which, again, this is relevant because Dustin Poirier is a southpaw. So, sticks him with, leads with the rear. Justin Gaethje doesn't see it coming. Angle's different. Chandler's been loading up on the one side all night. Just does exactly what Justin Gaethje did to him and is unable to see it. We're going to skip ahead now to 6 seconds on the clock, okay? Chandler and southpaw once again. And Gaethje immediately. This is something that I want to see him utilizing against Dustin Poirier. And he only does it a couple... No, we're going to skip back. We only see him do it a couple times in this fight, but it's something that I could see him utilizing against Poirier. That was a good kick right there. And Justin Gaethje does not throw a whole lot of body kicks, but this when he's in southpaw, that rear leg teep kick is there and available to him. Okay, so... Alright, now first I want to apologize because towards the end of that Justin Gaethje segment, I got a little bit quiet. I had heard some strange noise in my house, and I like subconsciously quieted down to try and hear if I could hear it again, but I've just confirmed that I was tripping. So, my apologies for that quiet segment there. I'm going to get back to my normal volume. We are looking at Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. We are in round number 1. We are at 4 minutes and 52 seconds, and this is to just show you that Dustin Poirier is absolutely full. Now, that feint, I don't like to critique guys, especially guys that I hold in a very high regard. That one was a little over the top, okay? But regardless, Dustin Poirier is fully prepared too. Dude, Chandler's hopping back and forth. The fact that we're in half speed, this is crazy. He is extremely explosive and fast on his feet, but he's definitely ready to get out of the way of leg kicks, okay? And that is the leg kick that would be coming from Justin Gaethje. However, Justin Gaethje, as we saw, will time it a lot better than a guy like Michael Chandler would. Okay, and Michael Chandler seriously overswings on that shot. We're gonna skip ahead 20 seconds. Okay, now we saw this with Gaethje, right? Susceptible to straight shots. I keep saying these buzzwords, right? But watch this. Poirier's pawn with the lead hand. Okay, he is very square compared to a lot of guys in their stance. He stands very squared, and Michael Chandler takes advantage of that and fucking blasts him with a right hand. Okay, now that one looked like it landed to the chest, but all it would have taken was Dustin Poirier to drop his level like half an inch, and that would clip the tip of the chin. Okay, good stuff. And by the way, I think that the reach might play a little bit into the fight with Dustin and Justin Gaethje, because Michael Chandler, he probably doesn't have the same reach as Dustin Poirier, but the explosivity and his ability to cover ground makes up for that, whereas Dustin is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage on Justin Gaethje. So now I'm going to skip ahead to 416. Okay, I said this, man. During the Justin fight, both of them are susceptible and open to the body. We saw Justin use the front kick on Chandler, so this is something that I could see him using against Dustin, especially because Justin used it on Chandler when Chandler was in southpaw. And we also saw Chandler ripping him to the body a ton. Now look at this. Body kick just misses, right? Or appeared to. And then I think this is the opportunity where Chandler just goes full UFC 4, hit my mic, and start spamming body kicks. But that one snuck in under the elbow. That one just glanced the belly with the toes. Still stings a bit. And then Dustin finally gets out of the way of that third one. But regardless, man, it's like it's almost like he wasn't even expecting a body kick. You know what I mean? And then even when he was, because Chandler had just thrown one, his elbow still wasn't tucked in tight enough, still wasn't tucked down low enough. We're going to skip ahead just a few seconds here. But, oh, here we go, dude. This moment. Look at this. Dustin just fucking powers through it. But look at this shit, man. This shit bugs me, dude. I don't like it. He's palm with the left. Uppercut to a cat swipe. Look at that shit, dude. You telling me this guy's not dirty? He is a dirty fucking, good Christian, bootstrap pulling, fucking motivational speech having boy who likes to poke eyes. You can see Dustin immediately start blinking, and he just keeps it going, no problems. But again, I showed you him do like the exact same thing against Justin Gaethje. Instead of it being off of a takedown, it was off of a big right. But still, we're gonna skip ahead 20 seconds. 3:40 on the clock. All right, this is hard to see, unfortunately, but I believe that this first leg kick ends up getting checked here. It's hard to see because of the way that the camera angle, apparently they don't care to see leg kicks. We saw this with my Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira breakdown, but throws a body kick. And then this leg kick right here. Watch the way Chandler pulls back and reacts to this leg kick that he completely wound up for. He grimaced a bit. Right, I think Poirier checked that one, and the way Poirier tilts his head and does the little fucking Poirier acknowledgement, I think that I'm probably bang on there that he checked that kick. But regardless, we're going to skip ahead to 3:20. It just shows that he's totally ready and willing and able to defend leg kicks, which Justin Gaethje is very good at. Now, again, more sneaky from Gaethje, but still. Oh, here we see it again. Susceptible to where? The body, dude. And he slips out of the way of that hook and slips out of the way of that as straight as Jeff Molina straight left hand, because Michael Chandler can't throw shit as straight as he wants to. But regardless, dude, that's where Dustin is the best at defense. When he's like roping open you a bit and you're throwing hooks and he's got that high elbow guard out there, he is very, very, very good at that. Okay, but again, now we see what I said. Throws a lazy body kick. Dustin's not within range. Lazy leg kick. Dustin pulls it out of the way. And big wind up on that right hand. Huge tell. Still fucking clipped him, dude. Both these guys are susceptible to straight shots, right? So they're both going to have to mix up their game a little bit, because Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier both would prefer to throw counter with and shit like this hooks. Okay, this is what they do, especially once they've got you hurt. And then at 3:10, he gets him again, dude, with a big straight punch that had a ton of tell on it, and then Dustin finally slips out of the way of that one. But still, man, and it looked like he stabbed his face with his fingers again there, but either way, I'll just keep it moving. But now that he's hurt Dustin, what does he do instead of those straight punches that he just had a ton of success with? He hooks that one a bit, and he clips him with it, and then he starts throwing spam hooks that are all bouncing off the glove of Dustin Poirier. Because, you know, when you hurt him with a straight right, what would you do? Follow up with some hooks, okay? Like, come on, buddy. I don't fucking get it, but either way, man. We're going to skip ahead 5 seconds. Now we see the reverse. Dustin leading with the rear and clips Michael Chandler good on the chin there. And then I'm going to skip ahead 10 seconds. And he gets him again with a straight left, okay? Who needs a jab, bro? Who needs a jab when you're fighting Michael Chandler, honestly, okay? And then at 241, we see Chandler landed again, man. All three of these fucking guys, dude. Straight punches exist, guys. Get out of the fucking way, okay? Jesus. I'm going to show this moment from Dustin, okay? It's a defensive moment here. So not maybe the most exciting, but very, very notable in my opinion, okay? Sticks him with a straight left. Barely lands, but still. Slips out of the way of that while parrying it. As he's backing up that high elbow guard, as we just talked about. He gets touched slightly with that one, but I think he rolled with it enough that it just skimmed him. High elbow guard up still. Goes off the arm as he's backing up. This is good shit from Dustin Poirier, man. He is very good defensively. Very, very good defensively. We're going to skip ahead 10 seconds. Dustin's counter right on display. Okay, let's see. His check right hook is very good. Chandler sticks out a jab and eats a right hook for his efforts. Chandler's, dude, it's crazy how, like, a guy like Charles Oliveira can just put away a guy like Chandler. And then we see him have crazy fucking stand-up wars with guys like Justin Gaethje and fucking Dustin Poirier and shit, man. It's very strange, but Charles Oliveira must be on Paulo Costa's secret juice or some shit, dude. And then we actually see something that we don't see a whole lot of unless he's fighting Conor McGregor, but look at the stance that Michael Chandler's in now. This probably won't be relevant because Justin Gaethje very rarely switches stances, but still, this is his antidote to the southpaw, whereas we saw Justin Gaethje just immediately switches up one hand he leads with. Dustin Poirier immediately chops his legs, and Michael Chandler goes, yeah, fuck that, I'm switching back. All right, now I'm going to skip ahead 5 seconds. At 2:07 on the clock, appears to be a clash of heads, all right? And I didn't notice this the first time. I thought that Chandler just hurt him, but he goes to shoot a takedown. Look at that. 100% there's a clash of heads there. And you can't tell me nothing, dude. Right on the chin of Poirier, too, at the top of the head of Chandler. Seems to actually stun Poirier a bit. And Michael Chandler knows, man. You didn't throw a fucking punch. Right? You shot a takedown. You know you got him with the head. He is such a fucking poor sport. And this is why Dustin Poirier was so fucking frustrated with him at the end of this fight, man. He's cat scratching you, like, or fucking rat scratching you, like Rat-a-Tad, dude. And then he's fucking clashing heads with you. And how does he follow up, dude? A good sport would back off and be like, hey, clashed heads. And I know you're supposed to protect yourselves at all fucking times, but still, dude. Boom, lands a right hand. That one lands very good. And he swings Dustin's head back with that one. Lands one over the top. Lands another bitch one over the top. That one misses basically. Lands another one over the top. Lands another one. And then Dustin Poirier ducks under his hooks. And now he's able to get his defense back up there. That one went off gloves slightly. Off gloves slightly. Not really, though. That one landed pretty good. But again, those are straight punches. Straighter punches. And then he shoots a takedown. As if he wasn't open for an uppercut the entire fucking time. But either way, dude. Either way. Now we're going to skip ahead to 50 seconds on the clock. Okay. Let's let it play for 3 seconds just so we can get there evenly. And Dustin Poirier needs to stop pulling guillotine dude. 50 seconds on the clock. Michael Chandler straight up tries to punch the back of the head. This is another example of him being a dirty fighter. So I do not blame Dustin one bit for being fucking annoyed with this guy, okay? I'd be annoyed too. Look at this. What else are you hitting, my guy? He punches the back of the head. That's what happens. I'm going to skip ahead 10 seconds. Mergliotta is in the way of the first thing that I want to show you, but the second one, okay? Ooh, nice right uppercut from Dustin. See, that straight left Mergliotta's big ugly head is in the way of. But then he pops off again with another straight left. From rear, obviously, right? It's his rear hand. Leading with it. Again, who needs a jab when you're fighting Michael Chandler? But either way, dude. And then, you know, just bopping him with little shots. Whiffs on that uppercut. Chandler counters over the top of the right hand. This makes Poirier go back a little bit. He slips out of the way of that one. This was a wild exchange, man. Look at that slip with the high elbow guard at the same time. And hooks, no problem. Beautiful counter right hook from Dustin Poirier. Jesus, dude. He is fine in the fire. This guy is calm. He is cool as a fucking cucumber, dude. He does not care if you are attacking him. His eyes are open. Slips out of the way of that. Perfect. Counter straight left. Over the top with a right hook. Chandler, who was already rocked and wobbled, is now just more so. Body kick, something we don't typically see from him. Follows up with the left hand, and then another right, and then another left. Chandler just gets out of the way of that one. And when Dustin Poirier, this is what I'm talking about, dude. When he has you hurt, he does not let you off the hook. And if there was just 10 seconds left in this round, maybe even less than that, I think Chandler's fucking out of here, dude. Lands a left hand again, but he gets tagged a little bit. This was a crazy, crazy moment at the end of this. Pops out with the jab, body kick, left hand, right hand misses. Straight left, boom. Perfect, dude. Like, Justin Gaethje has problems getting out of the way of these. He's got, oof, sticks him right over top of the guard. And then he starts going Michael Chandler and full Michael Chandler, throwing fucking nonstop hooks. Tags him again and again. And the accuracy of Dustin Poirier when he's got somebody hurt is actually fucking incredible. Now, this is something that I really like to see. And we don't see Justin Gaethje use a lot of. Okay, he just tried to eye poke him again, dude. Poirier just keeps pouring it on him. Does not care. Sticks him with the right hand. Michael Chandler just flailing like a fucking inflatable arm, flailing tube man. Okay. And then Dustin Poirier over the top with that stunning elbow. We do not see Justin Gaethje do that a whole lot, right? Even in these small fucking short quarters, whatever you want to call them, close quarters. We don't see him throw a whole lot of elbows. We don't see him. I can't remember the last time he threw an elbow. But either way, dude, we're gonna skip ahead to round number 3. All right, here we are, round number 3, 4:44 on the clock, dude. Dustin, this just shows you how good he is at fighting southpaws. I know it has no fucking relevance to the Justin Gaethje fight, but still, like, Chandler switches. And what does he do immediately, man? Whacks that calf, dude. I feel bad for any fucking southpaw that has to fight Dustin Poirier after him preparing for those 2 Conor McGregor fights. Either way, we're going to skip ahead now to 4:15 on the clock. We're just looking at some head movement, which I think is going to be relevant because Justin Gaethje does not have the same level of head movement, right? And Dustin Poirier, I think, will be able to get out of the way of more shots of Justin's than Justin Gaethje will be able to get out of the way of more shots than Dustin. Dustin, when he throws in combination too, he does like what coaches will ask you to do when you're drilling on the bag. He'll be doing really light shit so that he can follow the bag, and then he'll throw a hard one in there. So when Justin Gaethje's doing all that like rolling around bullshit, Dustin, Jesus Christ, that's annoying, is going to be taking it real slow, watching where he goes, and then when he thinks he can anticipate a good one, he will fucking dig into it, okay? But let's look at this head movement from DP. Okay, first of all, he fucking very rarely throws head kicks, but that's notable. Tries to lead with the rear hand. Doesn't work as well because Michael Chandler is in southpaw. Okay, now he's in orthodox, and Chandler tries to shoot a takedown and come over the top with a right hand, and Poirier just slips out of the way of it and counters with a left hand of his own while catching the fucking body kick from Michael Chandler. Okay, that was beautiful. And that stuns Michael Chandler for a brief second there. And now that's going to be the end of the shit that we look at with the, well, he sticks him with the jab. That's fine. That's going to be the end of the stuff that we look at for this fight, because obviously it hits the mat and Dustin Poirier fucking schools Michael Chandler in a jiu-jitsu lesson. But we saw again, right, Dustin Poirier susceptible to straight shots. Okay, he got hit with a ton of straight right hands. He did not get hit with as many jabs as Justin Gaethje did, but to be fair, Michael Chandler did not throw as many jabs as Justin Gaethje. He also got kicked with some or got hit with some body kicks, which Michael Chandler didn't throw a whole lot of those against Justin Gaethje either, but he was ripping to the body, so both of them are open for body shots, and we saw him get out of the way of most of the leg kicks, which could potentially cause problems for Justin Gaethje. But as I was talking about earlier, he does not use them as much as he used to. Now we're going to take a look at round number 4 of Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier, the first time around half a decade ago. All right, now we're here at the first fight between Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, one of the best fights of all time still to this day. Okay, now we're going to start at 4:51 of round number 4, just because I want to take a look at the finishing sequence to show you guys that Justin Gaethje is still susceptible to some of the stuff that he is susceptible to today, despite all of the improvements that he has made defensively. Now, for context, Dustin Poirier at this point was fucking bad. Like, his leg was fucked. Like, the man is hard as a rock, tough as fucking nails, and Justin Gaethje thought he was going to come in here and break Dustin Poirier, and that was just not the fucking case. Okay, so let's take a look. He eats another leg kick, right? Gaethje's throwing him high inside because he doesn't want to land on knee or shin, but Poirier counters with a beautiful left hand, whereas today, again, we showed this, Gaethje wouldn't be leading with a leg kick, man. He's going to wait for you to throw a jab, wait for you to plant your weight on your lead leg. He's going to wait till he knows he's in a position where he can't get hurt from that leg kick. And he probably learned that from this fight, if we're being honest, because this was the beginning of the end. Sends him doing the fucking Kevin Lee chicken dance, right? And then we see the same sort of covering up that Justin Gaethje did. I mean, he's throwing offense to be his defense, but this kind of covering up that he does. And we see Dustin Poirier picking his shots nicely, not throwing everything into them, following the face of Justin Gaethje so that he can land instead of just whiffing on a bunch of shots. And my God, does he ever, right? Same punch, right? We just saw Michael Chandler land this punch from the opposite position, or stance, mind you, but landed a ton against Justin Gaethje, okay? And now, if we take a look at what else Chandler landed, it was the jab, which this is what you would switch up when you're facing a different opponent. So Chandler leading with the rear, Gaethje leading with the rear when Chandler would switch as opposed to a jab. Poirier's jab isn't necessarily there for him as well as this left hand is, pardon me. Sticks him with it again and follows up with an uppercut because Gaethje dips his head to fucking roll undershots still to this day, okay? This is why I picked Dustin Poirier to win, man. You know, I think the quote that Poirier gave for he is so accurate when he gets you hurt. He is following you. Following your head. Not just winging shots. He's watching, waiting for the best opportunity. And we're going to end it there so I don't get copywritten, okay? But regardless. Both men susceptible to straight shots. Both men open to the body. Dustin Poirier has gotten much better at defending leg kicks. He has even gotten better at being offensive with his own leg kicks. I don't think that leg kicks are going to play a massive factor in their second fight. One, because I think that Gaethje's game plan to go to the legs didn't work, right? He didn't get the fruits of his labor, and he ate a ton of shots for his efforts of hurting Dustin Poirier's leg, thinking he was going to break him, but still in round 4 when Poirier's leg was so swollen and completely battered and bruised and he was literally like dragging it around at the end of round 3, was still able to get the finish on Justin Gaethje. So I don't think that Justin Gaethje is going to spend as much time investing in that. I think that there might be times where he waits for opportune moments, and he might counter with it like we saw him do against Michael Chandler, but it's not something that he uses to the same degree that he did half a decade ago. Okay, I think that the main determining factor in their fight is going to be the head movement of Dustin Poirier, whereas Justin Gaethje likes to roll and duck under shots. Dustin Poirier is much better at not just getting a hand up with the high elbow guard, but slipping out of the way of stuff, even backing up, right? Whereas Justin Gaethje, he does that thing and it shows that he's susceptible to uppercuts. Dustin Poirier is a very good boxer, especially in combination, and he's not just throwing to throw. He'll wait, he'll hit you slowly, change up, and then he'll come with a really hard shot once he knows he's got your head in the right position. So it's going to be interesting, man. And seeing Justin Gaethje kick Chandler to the body like that, I'd forgotten about that. That's not a weapon that he typically utilizes. I think that he should and probably will utilize this against Dustin Poirier. If Trevor Whitman has anything to do with it, he will definitely use that, because Justin Gaethje is at a reach disadvantage in this fight. So him sticking his jab out is not going to be as effective as if he can range find with, and because Dustin Poirier is so good at countering leg kicks, I think that teep to the body might be better for Justin Gaethje to throw. But regardless, man, this has been another fight film breakdown of a common opponent: Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, and Michael Chandler. Like and subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. It still went long as fuck. I apologize for that, but regardless, dude, see you at the next video. Bye bye.